Charlie Rose, here we go. Are we in frame?
Mm-hmm.
Great.
So I'm here with Rose Rierdon. My name is Kris Haynes, and she is the associate artistic director of Portland Center Stage, and we're here to see her latest production of Red. Can you tell me about your process?
Directing process? Mm-hmm. Well, usually what happens is we'll get the script. We know about a year in advance what we're doing. So the first part of it for me is just reading the text and sort of what visual impressions I'm getting. And I never read like the stage directions like that are incorporated in the text, because I want to sort of see it in my mind on my own. What is it telling me? What am I picturing? And then of course I go back and I will read, because it's often like, you know, practical information. The next step of course is design. Talking to the designers about like the set and sort of how you want it to function, but also sort of what the narrative is that you want to highlight. But in the room, which is really more process I think you're interested in with the actors. Once I'm in the room, once I have it cast and I'm in the room, I usually spend the first few days around the table doing, you know, text work, talking about the play, talking about questions and that sort of thing. And a lot of that is to basically warm up the room a little bit. The play that you're about to see, Red, one of the things that we did the first week, we read the play a couple times, but we spent all of our time in art school. And I had a local artist, come in, teach them how to paint, teach them how to build canvases, teach them how to work with all the tools and the brushes and all of that stuff. And each rehearsal began with an hour of painting, and they painted on their own every day, learning how to sort of spend time with the canvas. So even though I suppose I have a process, it sort of morphs depending on the play.
Well, that was actually my next question. Does your process change depending on the tone of the show? Well,
how I work probably doesn't change, but what I choose to emphasize, I think it's really important that when people are in a room together, they feel safe, they feel comfortable, and I think the most important thing is that we have fun. And I'm very much interested in always building an ensemble of people, as opposed to, you know, you have your star and then you have, you know, your walk-ons or whatever. And there's oftentimes I make people dance. So I'll put on music and, you know, and we dance. It's a great unifier. And even if they're bad dancers, people usually like doing it. And I'll do exercises, but it really depends on sort of what I feel the particular project is requires.
So would I be correct in assuming you prefer the darker stuff?
You know, a lot of people think that, but okay, truthfully, I am more attracted to it, I think. But you know, I think it's not dark versus light. You know, like drama versus comedy. I think it's really about the weight of the material. Like, I think Telethon was actually a comedy, and The North Plan, definitely a comedy. But both had an element of gritty sort of realism. So I think, yes, that's probably more what I'm attracted to, as opposed to, you know, light musical, funny, you know, that sort of thing.
Do you get to pick which ones you direct?
You know, it's so weird. It just kind of happens, but it happens in the right way. Like, we tend to be you know, when we're putting the season together, we're obviously attracted to certain projects. Like Kris is attracted to certain projects, and I am. And there have been a couple of times where I felt like I wasn't suited for it, like it wasn't for me, and chose not to do it. But most of the time, we get it right, you know. But I never feel the pressure to direct a play that I just don't feel is for me.
What is this selection process like?
Long. We're doing it now for not next season, but the following season. So we're constantly reading plays, and that's really the beginning of it. We just read and read and read and read and read, and then Kris kind of narrows it down, and we all pitch in projects like, oh, we'd really love to do this play, or we heard about that play.
What's your favorite part of the job?
My favorite part of the job. Well, my job has so many arms and legs, and that it would be hard to say that, oh, this is my favorite part of the job, or this is my favorite part of the job, because, like, for instance, when we're doing while we're doing job, that's my favorite part of the year, my favorite part of my job. Then when I'm directing a project, that's my favorite part of my, do you know what I mean? But I would have to say, if I sort of had to throw them all into one big soup, I would say my favorite part of my job is that the people I work with, that I get to do all these things with them, and the building that I work in, that I get to live in Portland. I mean, those aren't personal things, but they create sort of the atmosphere that I get to work in every day. So I'd have to say that there isn't really a part of my job that I hate. There are some things I would rather do than others, but I feel pretty blessed that I've been able to spend my life doing what I love.
Cool. So what made Red rise to the top of the pile?
Well, I think, first of all, it's a great play. And for us personally here, you know, Rothko he grew up in Portland, the artist that's talked about in Red, and there was going to be a big, huge exhibit coming to the Portland Art Museum of Rothko's work. And they'd been waiting a long time to get this exhibit, and it seemed like the perfect marriage to do. But have you seen the exhibit yet?
No, I haven't.
I think you would really like it, but I think you would like even more. The Rothko part of it is great, but upstairs there's an exhibit by John Frame that makes these incredible, interesting sort of, I don't know, kind of steampunky marionette miniature creatures that you could look at for hours. It's like theater, carved theater almost. I bet you would really dig it. You should definitely go.
Okay. So was Rothko one of your favorites?
Well, I would have to say that I was aware of Rothko, and I find his work intriguing, but there are other artists that I was more attracted to.
Such as?
Like Lucian Freud. I love his work. I'm a Pollock fan, Rauschenberg, but I think I came to, while I studied him, you know, and researched the play, I came to a real appreciation for what he did and what he was doing.
What has been your favorite production that you've done so far?
They're all my favorite. You really cannot. It's like asking a mother which one is her favorite child. Do you know what I mean? It's like even the difficult ones or the more challenging ones. I mean, some I certainly had much more fun working on than others, but they all had their place. Do you know what I mean? And I am a devoted, stubborn, 150% committed director.
Okay.
Like, I am never done. I just have to walk away. And so to, I mean, really it's more about like what, you know, it's like, I would never say one production is my favorite, but what I would say is there's certain moments out of each one of them that may be small things that the audience would never notice that I adore. That I always look forward to, like, and it can be a tiny, there was did you see the North Plan?
Yes.
Okay. There was a moment in the North Plan that was a really small moment that in the second act that Bob Lee, the younger detective, every night, and the dialogue wasn't on him, but he was sitting on the desk near the coffee pot, and he would take a drink of coffee, and he always made this horrified face after he took a sip of coffee that never failed to make me laugh. But it wasn't, you know, it wasn't a big moment, or it wasn't like part of the narrative, but it was such a beautiful comedic moment that nobody ever really saw. But I always knew it was coming, so I'd always look over there when it happened, just so I could watch this face he would make as he took a sip of coffee. I think all the plays have moments where you feel like, oh, that's perfect. You know, like, but I don't think I've ever directed a project where every single moment is perfect. There's no such thing as, you know, but they all have a piece that, you know, belongs in them.
Okay. And my final question is, what's your dream project? If you could pick one that would rise right to the pile, your Queen for a Day, what would you pick?
Queen for a Day. I don't think it's been created yet. But if I was Queen for a Day, what I would love to do is have more time to work on projects. In other words, I would love to like have 6 months to work on one project as opposed to a month. Spend more time creating the work as opposed to, you know, receiving a script and it's all done. I love creating new things. So if I was Queen for a Day, I'd have all the money in the world to do what I wanted. That would be my favorite thing.
And this is just a question for me. What happened to The Huntsman? Has that gone through any more process?
I actually believe, even after Job, I don't think I'm at liberty to say, but I do believe that people will get to watch it next year somewhere. But I don't know where or who or how, and it's not mine to. But there was definitely interest in it after Job, so we'll see what happens.
Well, all right. Thank you very much.
You are welcome. It's nice seeing you again.
Nice seeing you.
Yep. I hope you enjoyed the play.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
I am just amazed.